We're continuing with the drum tube. This video is going to teach all about making the drum tube. It is made out of a Pringles can, and I like Pringles. Magic is fun. I think the video is very detailed, but the blog will have a downloadable PDF with all the directions. FreeMagicFun.com. This is pretty much everything you're going to need to put this together. You have a chip can. I don't know if the brand is important, but if you're going to be eating them, pick the brand that you like. The lid will be thrown away. The bottom, we'll use a can opener to open it up and have a hollow tube. I was trying to find a cup. The problem with that is I didn't really know the size, so I bought this cup. It's too tall. Like, well, I like having the rim. I don't want to lose the edge, but okay, let me trim that off and see if I can make it fit. I got it, trimmed it off, it fits. It's like, well, so far so good. Then took the rubber band because, you have that crepe paper, and the rubber band would just squish the cup. So this one did not work. Let's try something else. We have these plastic cups I found at the house. Didn't have to go anywhere. Problem is, just like that first cup, it doesn't fit. But unlike the first cup, you can squeeze it and it's hard. So I trimmed that much off. See, it's a little shorter. Trim it as smooth as you can, and then it fits. And with the rubber bands and the crepe paper, it kind of sticks up just a little bit. I trimmed this one to fit. I'm not going to trim this one until I open this and make sure if it's the same size hole. I'm not positive that that hole is going to be the identical size of this hole. So I will cut it to fit. I suspect it will be the same, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. The chips are gone. The craft supplies were very cheap. This is the crepe paper for the drum head. This is one giant sheet, really big. I'll be able to cut hundreds of those little squares I need. Just a real thin, kind of a, tissue-y paper. Here's one I used. It goes on, gets punctured, and it's just a really super soft tissue paper. You got to be very careful with it, but it's to be torn, so it's okay. This is enough to last me probably forever, and it cost me, it's in pesos, so I have to convert to dollars because I will do it in US currency to make it simpler. The crepe paper was 28 cents. The paper, this is a sticker paper. At first I was like, why is it purple on one side and yellow on the other? Because it's a sticker, this peels off. It says sticker paper, but yes. 5 sheets were 90 cents. There's other things you can buy, contact paper, shelf liner, just regular construction paper, anything you want to use, you can just glue it on. But this, I thought would be a good fit. And pretty much is. I will have to trim this edge. So when I put it on, I will center it and then cover it with edge decoration. So you won't see that part. For the edge, I have ribbon. However many pieces this is, looks like at least a dozen for 24 cents. We'll put that on. It'll take 2 of them because it doesn't go all the way around. I don't know what I'm going to use. I just bought multiple things, and as I go, I'll figure it out. But then I have this braided red, green, gold fancy thing. I can do that on the edge. I was thinking like spiraling it around, but I think that would get too complicated and too weird looking. So I think I'll just keep it right up on the top and on the bottom. And so how much was that? That was 80 cents for a big roll of that. And then glitter glue is gold, purple, and red glitter glue. They were 20 cents each, and they're actually labeled as Disney. Didn't know Disney was in the art supplies, but why not? And as I said, I'm not sure what exactly I'll be decorating it with. I'll figure that out as I go. The tools needed. I like using a cutting pad. They're not required, but it's nice. It has all the measurements, and if you're cutting stuff, you can see what you're doing, and it protects your table. This has all the measurements on it, but I also like to have my own ruler and straight edge. Sometimes I want to draw a straight line. Scissors, tape, and glue. This is just stuff probably have laying around the house. And a pencil, because I like to draw and mark things before I cut them. Doesn't take much to put this together. This is sticker paper, so it will just stick. Otherwise, you use construction paper and use glue. Either way, it works. You do need one more tool, and that would be the can opener. It's not a very good edge as far as cans go, because it's not really designed to be opened, but we're going to try it. It seems to work. It's a can opener. I thought it would. No sharp edges. I'm amazed. I was checking carefully for sharp edges, and there are none. There is a lot of salt, so I need to clean it out. I didn't wash it, but I will have to do that now. I will pause this and come right back. I don't want to wash this because it's just cardboard and it would get messed up if it gets wet. So I'm using a towel and running a towel back and forth through it just to get all the salt removed. This, I've never used this, but it is just sticker paper. I was going to use these markings and geometry to get like exactly the center so I know have a straight line, because I want to start this on a straight line. If I start it crooked, it will go around and look bad. It has to go straight. Then I realized there is a straight line already on it. So I will put it right there and then start peeling the back off all the way around. First, we got to make sure this size, because it's a little long. Has like an overlap of this much right now. And I guess I could just go with it, but I want to trim it down because I want to use these pieces to put on here. You don't need to because no one's really going to see it, but I just want it to be the same thickness. I don't want to bump. Probably wouldn't matter. So I already did this. I came around. There's where you can see where it is, where the other end is, and I just marked right here. I'm going to draw a straight line and cut this off. I used to have a nice rolling cutter, and I do not anymore, and I really miss it. But that's where this pad is nice. It's got all the straight lines, so you know you got this straight, and it's marked here and here. So it doesn't matter what number I pick. I'm putting it on 270 because I happen to be right here. So make sure that's straight. Go from 270 to 270. And that is a straight line. Sure, I went ahead and drew the line, but I'm going to go ahead and I was going to use the scissors, but since I'm on a cutting pad, I'm just going to start peeling the backing off. I'm not going to go far. I just want to get just the beginning. And then I very carefully want to go on that line. I want the space on each side to be about even. Doesn't have to be exact, but you don't want any wrinkles in it. So press it on, peel a little bit. Don't get ahead of yourself because you'll start wrinkling. So you want to get it on as smooth as you can. If you're gluing it, you do about the same, but since this is on a backing paper, this is even easier than gluing it. And it's not exactly straight. I was as careful as I could be, and that's pretty darn straight for me. But I think I'm going to put these on, but even if I don't, I have the ribbon, 3 or 4 of them. I'll be trimming part of it. Problem, we'll cut it straight. I don't like the puncture marks on it where they put it together. That will work fine, and I don't even need, I was going to trim this to put on there to fill it up, and there's no point because this covers it up perfectly. I don't like the ends, so I will cut them off and make it straight. I will use regular glue to put it together, and any decorations will be put on with glitter glue just to be sparkly and make a mess. Just glue around it. We're going to let that sit for a minute.
A few minutes later.
I was going to tape it in place, but that sounds like I might tear the paper accidentally, and I don't want to do that. So what we're going to do is put it right there, right as close to the edge as you can. We can still hide it with other things if need be. No one's going to be inspecting it like that close anyway. And then you can use clips if you have them. These are very nice. I do a lot of modeling. Put one here just to keep it from moving down. And now I need to trim a piece to that. So here. There. Not a precise measurement. But it works. And now I need more clips, and I don't have any more. So that to hold both of those. On that one, hold both of those. So that's side one for now. I'll let that sit and start doing this one. Now I've got one of the seams of the ribbon here right by the seam of the paper. It's not gonna be very noticeable, but that way I'll kind of have a front to the tube and then the back of the tube. I don't think anyone's really gonna notice it, but I want to go ahead and line up all my seams just because I like to. Once I've got it clipped, held in place, I want to go around and make sure there's not any giant globs of glue. It dries clear, but I just don't want it to be lumpy. And I just put my finger in that glue and made a mess. I'll be glittered forever. Oh, when you have glitter, it will be all over everything. Glitter is messy, but it's kind of fun. That's not a bad seam. And you can see the glitter on there. I got the extra glue. Now, I hope it's a good glue. I'm not sure about the glue. I do want a little extra right there where they join. Because right here is the ends. And if they're not glued down well, they could fray, they could move. I'm going to kind of put a bunch of extra on there. and put them in place. Actually lost the seam here for a minute. That doesn't show up very much. I don't even know if that shows up on camera. Barely shows up in person. If you're lucky enough to get a cup that just fits exactly right, good for you. I was not so lucky. So this is the end that I use the can opener on. So I know the other cup fits this end. I'll put this cup here. I expect they will be the same. It may not be exactly. So I'll just put it in kind of snugly and take my Sharpie marker and make sure it's straight and just draw a line on the cup. Okay, I have everything glued. This is glued, this is all glued. And we're going to just set that aside and try and ignore it until at least an hour, because I want it to really, really be dried. So in the meantime, I measured the cup, and I will now cut it. A knife would work. I did the other one with these scissors, and it actually worked really well. Getting down to it is kind of a trick in itself. Once you're on there, you just stay on that line and cut. And I would not be able to cut this straight with a knife. This is a pretty hard plastic, but it's not brittle, soft plastic. I'm going just under the line because I know how I drew the other one. I had to come back and trim again because where you draw is not exactly where it needs to be, but you learn that depending on the cup you have from the first one you cut. Hopefully you can find a cup that fits. And when you're done, you may have to trim up an edge a little bit, but that doesn't look too bad. Look at all that glitter all over me. Oh man, I'm gonna have glitter on me for the ever. Oh, it looks. Next time I get a manicure, I'll have them put glitter on there. Won't that be magical? I've made a mess. I made a cool new toy. I mean, magical prop. It's a toy. So you now have a magic production tube. Have fun with it, fool all your friends, and hopefully you can get some candy to appear. That's what I like to do. See you next time. For more detailed instructions and pictures, please visit the blog at FreeMagicFun.com. Keep practicing.